This is Scott the Fix-It Guy. Today we're dealing with a Kenmore Whirlpool gas dryer that is not heating up very well, not doing a good job drying the clothes. We're going to unplug it, but also turn off the breaker so there's no power going to the unit. Pull out the filter. We're going to remove two Phillips head screws here underneath the filter housing. This is going to let us get to some of the inner parts of the dryer that are living under the cabinet. So we have to take off the top panel first, and we just have to remove these two Phillips head screws near the filter housing. We've got it all plugged. And we're going to be replacing the primary and secondary gas valves. They kind of get worn out and they don't allow the flame to stay on long enough to really heat the clothes. So now we're going to remove the top, and sometimes you can just pull back towards you and lift up on the front. It'll come done, or sometimes you can use a paint scraper to push in on the two clips on the front and left, the front right and left hand corner. And then we want to undo this door switch modular connector, so I'm going to use a standard head screwdriver to pry it apart. And then there's these two screws here on the inside that I have to remove to let the front panel come off. So there's two screws at the top and two clips at the bottom. So we take these two screws out and we have to lift up on the front panel. We lift up and pull toward us, and then release the lower clip and you can get off the front panel. First you have to get these two screws off. We can lift up on the panel, pull it toward us, and then the tumbler will lean in towards you a little bit, but the belt's still holding it in place. So we got the front panel off. At this point, you could replace the primary and secondary gas valves without removing the belt and the tumbler, but we're going to do that so you get a better look. I'm going to push in on the idler wheel, and that'll help me get the belt off of the motor pulley. Now I have the belt disconnected. Now I can lift the tumbler out of the way by just lifting up on the belt. And then I can pull that tumbler and get it out of the way so I have better access to cleaning the motor. So here's the motor. It's got a lot of lint that's built up on it, and it won't cool down very well, so it'll probably overheat. So I'm just using a painter's brush. It's be good to wear a dust mask while you do this, and just brush all the lint away from the motor. You can also use a really good vacuum with a narrow head on it, so it can suck up all the lint, but also in the small crevices. And we have this little fan behind the motor. It's good to just keep cleaning that until all the lint's gone. And this is over on the burner mechanism. This is where the lint might catch on fire, so you definitely want to get all this lint out of here. This stuff just builds up over many years, but it is highly flammable. So once we get all that dirt out of there, we're going to take this coil valve kit, this part number. We're going to replace these old coils so that the flame stays on a little bit longer. I'm going to pull these out of the plastic, and I'm going to take off these modular connectors on the old coils. The big one on the left, little one on the right. And the Phillips head screwdriver, I'm going to undo these two screws that are the brackets that hold on the coils. And then once that's undone, you can lift the bracket off and the coils come straight up. Probably good to replace them one at a time so you don't get confused between the new coils and the old coils. Took that one off. Took the bigger one off, and the bigger one has a little metal insert on the inside. And you want to make sure you get rid of that metal insert from the old one and put that into the new one. It's an important part. Some of the coils don't have it on the old one, some do. If there was one on the old one, you want to put it on the new one too. So the big one goes on closest to you, and the thinner, taller one goes away from you. The thinner, taller one, you also want the spade connectors on the top, but on the big one you want the spade connectors to be on the bottom. We're going to put the bracket back on, and it only fits one way. There's little plastic tabs that fit up through a hole on each coil, and it'll help you line them up. You put the Phillips head screws back in, and these little coils will create a more powerful magnetic field that'll keep the gas valve open. We got those screws on tight. We're going to use our Phillips head screwdriver. And then we're going to put these modular connectors back on. Make sure you get them on there really tight. Nice snug fit. One has 3 prongs, one has 2. You want to make sure you match them up correctly. And now the gas valves are done. We can put everything back together. We can lift up, using the belt, lift the tumbler up and push it back in to the dryer. Lift it up against the back of the dryer, and also so it sits down on the 2 wheels near the back of the dryer. And I'm going to support it with my little fastener case so I can help me put on the belt. I'm going to put the either wheel back into position. I'll put the belt underneath the either wheel, pull the either wheel way back to the right, and then push the belt up over the motor pulley. Now I can do a couple spins to make sure that the belt's staying on. Kind of see how the arrangement is. Okay, now I'll put it back together. I got the front panel on. I lifted the panel up, and then I dropped the lower part down on the clips, and now I would need to put the screws back in on the upper part of the panel, hold it in. Lower part again is just clips that the panel slides down onto. Just take your time with those lower clips. A little tricky to do. So we got the door switch connector I'm going to put back together. Plug it in, give it a little test, and we're lowering down the front panel down with its clips. It'll just lock into place. And then there's the 2 Phillips head screws we want to put back in. Take your time here so it doesn't fall, those screws don't fall in by accident. Put them in by hand carefully, and then use the driver to zip them in tight. And now we'll put the filter back in, make sure the filter's clean. And we set it for dry. We popped off this little inspection plastic piece. Got it set for normal dry. Got the door closed, top plugged in, gas on, and we start it. We're going to look in here. We should see the igniter start to glow brighter and brighter. Finally, it gets so bright, so hot that the gas valves open up and the gas catches on fire. You should see a big flame. Cold dryer that's just starting for the first time, this flame should burn for approximately 3 minutes. If it doesn't burn long enough, it either means that your coils are worn out, but we just replaced them. If it still doesn't burn long enough, that's an indication that it's overheating, and that means that the exhaust is not leaving as easily as it should. There's some kind of a clog. So thanks so much for watching, and please subscribe when you get a chance. Thank you.